from the disabled list to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. And we're glad you're with us. Joe Davis or Hershiser. Alana Rizzo joins us in a moment. And Kershaw coming off of the DL, making one half of a fabulous pitching matchup. Probably the best in baseball today as he faces off with Aaron Nola.
It's fantastic to have the ace back. You get Clayton Kershaw back. Every start is a fun start, but when he's on the mound and you've been missing him for about a month, it's even better. I hope the lefty is feeling good. The pitch count, he can go deep into the game because he's going to expect that out of himself, and he's going to have to be good today because on the other side, Aaron Nola has gone from top prospect, top draft pick to a guy who has produced over the last year. He has been absolutely fantastic, is now probably and for a long time going to be the ace of this Philadelphia Phillies team.
That's the staff that brought in Jake Arrieta, so that's saying something. Nola, his last time out, took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. Clayton Kershaw against Aaron Nola, the Dodgers and the Phillies, as the Dodgers try to make it 4 consecutive series wins. This afternoon. We go down to the field now, brought to you by El Pollo Loco. Here's Alana.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. Despite having the best average in the National League at .345, Dave Roberts electing to give Matt Kemp the start off today, as well as Chris Taylor. Dave saying the reason is he wants both of those guys to be able to start in all 3 games in Colorado. The high altitude can affect the body very differently. Matt Kemp certainly has been tremendous so far this season. We'll get the start off tonight. Expect him and CT3 to be in all 3 of those games in Denver, guys.
All right, Alana, as Kershaw gets ready to go on a perfect afternoon for baseball. A rare 4:35 local first pitch, with this being getaway day for both teams, and it's 71 degrees with not a cloud in the sky. Take a look at the Phillies lineup for this series finale, with Cesar Hernandez to lead it off, then Aaron Altherr and Odubel Herrera. Carlos Santana's been hot the last week and a half or so, really the whole month of May having a nice run. Nikhyl Franco starts at 3rd and bats 5th. Nick Williams in left, Kingery at short, and Jorge Alfaro does the catching. And for Kershaw, his first outing since May 1st.
Well, it seems like the rehab is crescendoing at the right time. He wasn't super with his simulated game to get himself ready for this start, but the side work from the results that Rick Honeycutt and some of the other guys who saw the side work before this start, they said he was throwing the ball very, very well and very excited about the stuff that's coming out of his arm. The one thing you have to warn Clayton Kershaw is his standards are so high for himself. Today, remember to pitch, and location is more important than that effort and really the velocity.
Dodgers were in Monterrey, Mexico, and they got the word that Clayton Kershaw would be placed on the disabled list. That was already a really low point with the team hitting a long losing streak, and then you find out biceps tendonitis, and the first thing that you think of whenever you hear that is shoulder. They went in and took a look with an MRI, and first time he'd ever had his shoulder looked at like that, but it was clear. Truly just biceps tendonitis, and here he is less than 1 month later, back on a major league mound. The switch hitting Cesar Hernandez digs in. We're ready for baseball. And off we go as Clayton Kershaw delivers one that's banged into center for a base hit. Something we saw several teams do against Kershaw over the first month of his season. Be very aggressive.
They attack the fastball early. They don't want to get to the slider and the curveball, which are devastating. So we see a lot of early swings against Clayton, whether he's coming off rehab or in the midst of a great season.
Opponents Oral hitting .444 on the first pitch against Kershaw. Now it's Aaron Altair. And just to put another number on what you're talking about, guys not wanting to fall behind him, being aggressive. Well, the reason is when Kershaw gets ahead, opponents are hitting .107. Is 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Altair has a grand slam in his career against Clayton Kershaw. Last September in Philadelphia. In fact, it was the first grand slam Kershaw ever allowed. 2-1.
Odd start time today, so the lighting will be a little different with the shadows later in the game creeping in. Both teams, this is a travel day. Dodgers will go to Colorado and Phillies will go to San Francisco.
Long trip for Philadelphia. They've got the 4 games here, then that San Francisco series, then to Chicago, all before heading back. Hit sharply, but off a bounce it short. Hernandez starts the turn, a double play. Dave Roberts loves Kike Hernandez defense at short. He flashes it there for a 6-4-3 twin killing.
Hernandez to Valera to Muncie. Did you think you were going to hear that double play combination before the calendar turns to June?
Yes, on March 1st.
Yeah, in the second half of a B game when Kike needs to get a little action.
So the double play wiping the bases clear and bringing up Odubel Herrera. Ball 1. A 41 game on base streak to open the season for this guy. But in his last 10, he's hitting a .184. That's since that on base streak ended. Ball, 1 strike. Last night, one of the rare times this season where he's not reached base. Dodgers holding him to an 0-5 in an 8-2 win. Another good one for Ross Stripling. 7 innings to drop his ERA to 1.68 on the year. Fouled back, 1-2.
Herrera, even though he hasn't had the greatest of series, he's still been very impressive and somebody you need to respect when he gets in the batter's box. He just puts a professional at bat on you, and he's got that power, and it's surprising power coming out of the size of this guy.
On a 1-2. Takes a fastball up, and it's 2-2. He's a little guy, but he's got nicknamed Little Bull. His dad gave that to him when he was a young kid. He was thick, even a little bit chubby. El Torito. With 2 out in the first on a 2-2 pitch. Digs it out, serves it to second. Breivik Valero with a diving play. And Clayton Kershaw with a scoreless first inning on 10 pitches in his return.
Awesome jump, awesome snag. Help the starter, help the ace.
Is their lineup with Jock Peterson headed to the plate to lead it off, followed by Max Muncie and Justin Turner after his day off yesterday. Yasmani Grandal bats cleanup, does the catching for Kershaw with Bellinger in center, Puig in right, and Valera and Hernandez both putting their imprint on this game already defensively. Rounding out the order against Aaron Nola, who took a no-hitter into the 7th inning his last time out. And if you go back to late June of last year, in that span, he's number 2 in the National League in wins behind just Max Scherzer, and number 4 in the National League in ERA. His first pitch of the day is swung on and missed by Peterson. Dodgers trying to build off of their best offensive performance of June yesterday, or of May yesterday. Scoring 8 runs, all 9 hitters in the order got a hit, including Ross Stripling.
13 hits, 4 walks. It was a production up and down the order, which the Dodgers have been looking for. They've usually had one offensive hero a game, but whole lineup coming through.
1-2. Part of the reason today no Matt Kemp is he is 0 for 11 lifetime against Aaron Nola.
We saw Dave Roberts do that against Max Scherzer. And sometimes to keep a veterans fresh, best to do it on days where maybe you're avoiding a place where he could go into a slump. Keep him confident. And you know you're going to have to rest him. You might as well rest him strategically and keep him hot.
Like Alana said, it's before the series in Denver where both those guys will be needed all 3 days, and the altitude there can make it a little bit difficult. Peterson takes in the dirt, and it's 2-2.
We're seeing some growth with Jock. His approach at the plate. Dave Roberts having more confidence to put him at the top of the order. The swing is continuing to develop as far as the average. And we're seeing him to start to cut the bat loose in hitters counts and look for a little bit more bat speed now.
On a 2-2 from Nola. He flips a fly ball to center field for Odubel Herrera. And the first out. In a scoreless first inning, here comes Max Muncie. He's in our Lane Rover Performance Spotlight. Homered again last night. He's 4th in his last 10 games.
He has been absolutely fantastic. Another one of those great finds by the front office and Andrew Friedman as far as finding somebody under the radar that can really produce at the big league level when given the opportunity. A Justin Turner, a Chris Taylor, maybe a Max Muncie this year.
Got to give credit to Farhan Zaidi, who was in Oakland when the A's drafted Max Muncie out of Baylor. Released at the end of spring training last year by the A's. Signed about a month later with the Dodgers. Spent all last season in AAA. Put up good numbers, but still wasn't really on the radar until he had a big spring. Came up fulfilling a very specific need against right-handed pitching. But he's stuck. It's fading near the seats and out of play, still 0-2. Nola trying to get the Phillies headed back in the right direction. Losers of 4 of their last 6 games. And currently a game and a half back in the East behind the Washington Nationals, who just can't seem to lose anymore.
Nola's a guy that is starting to really, over the last year, reach his projected potential. Fastball, curveball change, throwing a lot more and a lot better changeups this year as he grows, and he is not afraid to drop the curveball in on you in the very first pitch. Almost 40% of the time he'll use that curveball early.
Once he stays alive against the changeup.
Saw 85 flash on the MPH there in the lower right corner. 85-mile-an-hour changeup. It's not one of those that has a huge differential from his fastball. It's going to be 6, 7, 8-mile-an-hour differential, but it's got outstanding movement, and he is really be able to locate it this year a lot better. And the confidence has grown where he is actually throwing it against right-handed hitters too.
Once he takes it for a ball here. The development of that pitcher last summer, really midway through, that's a huge moment in his career. Been tinkering with the grip for years and finally found something that felt good. And it now grades out as one of the most valuable changeups in all of baseball. Check swing foul, and it remains 1-2.
These guys that grow up with great arms and can overpower amateur ball at a lot of different levels, high school, college, whatever it is, they usually overpower it with their fastball and their breaking ball if it's a slider or curveball. And so to develop the changeup and take the power fingers away from the back of the ball is a huge change, and finding that comfortable grip is a big step.
Once he checks his swing, 2-2.
Very odd. You know, think about, you know, when you give someone directions, what finger you point with. You point with your index finger. And what do you do the most work with? Well, probably your middle finger is your strongest finger. Well, with a changeup, you're trying to use the last 2 fingers, your baby finger, your ring finger, and those are not something you use naturally.
Another good take, full count.
You don't communicate with those fingers very much all the way to your brain in anything you do naturally. And so all of a sudden you're trying to get away from your index finger, get away from your middle finger so that you can take power off the ball and put spin. But now you're having to do it with fingers that don't have that same kinesthetic sense of where your body is in space.
10th pitch to Muncie, and it's hit foul. Max Muncie really battling against Aaron Nola. Something you've come to expect from this guy. Quality at bats. Somebody Dave Roberts loves having in the top 2 in the order these days. On the 11th pitch, Muncie takes ball 4. Put a star by that simple walk in your scoreboard.
Number 10, Justin.
He got 4 balls, and one of the pitches that got called a strike was actually low, so he did an amazing job to get that walk.
It brings up Justin Turner. Had yesterday off, 3 for 8 over the first 2 days of the series. beautiful day. Strike one.
You really want to get your runs early because they're going to be a high value at the end of the game when the shadows start to creep in. You're not only going to have the shadows to deal with, but probably bullpen pieces if you're behind that are going to be the highest of quality coming out of either pen.
What do you think? Fifth inning?
Yeah, what a normal, like a Sunday night game here when they start around 5-ish gets really bad around 6-ish. So yeah, fifth, sixth inning is going to be very interesting as far as sight lines.
As if it wasn't hard enough already against these two pitchers. That one gets by Alfaro, allowing Muncie to advance to scoring position.
I think it'll be graded a wild pitch, but he should have probably caught this ball if you ask him. It wasn't that far away. He got a little leather on it, but in getting leather on it, you didn't see any action from his lower body or really his upper body. It was just a basic reach. I think he could have found an inch or two or three in extension if he could have collapsed that right knee or something.
First inning scoring chance here. Nola to Turner, 1-1. Down and away. He's yanked a couple in a row. 2 balls, 1 strike. Regardless of the outcome in this inning, if they're able to put anything up, they forced him to throw at least 20 pitches. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Still just 24 years old. Celebrate his 25th birthday on Monday. And must be living right. He's going to get an off day in Chicago to spend it. Former 7th overall pick out of LSU. That was in 2014. He'd make his major league debut 1 year later. And now in his 4th year in the bigs. 4 years before turning 25. Here's his 2-2. Turner chops it foul. Another reason Dodgers are trying to get on Nola early, besides those shadows, this is the time to do it. Opponents hitting above 300 against him in the first, below 200 after.
He seems to have a pretty good feel for the changeup, and a lot of times as a starting pitcher with the adrenaline in the beginning of the game, your hard stuff is easier to command, but he's kind of held back on the curveball so far.
Full count.
First time he's pitched in Dodger Stadium. Be a difference with the perspective as you look in from the mound. All of a sudden there's a hitter there. You haven't gotten used to this mound and how it feels. Every mound feels different. Every perspective from the mound looking in at the hitter. Some places you feel like you're right on top of the hitter and you're throwing gas. Other times it feels so far away. I know it's the exact measurements, but it's just what your mind's eye reads.
Here he comes with the 3-2, and Turner hits it on the ground to the hole at short. Backhand play Kingery. Long throw to get Turner. Scott Kingery's played some nice defense at short in this series, especially for a guy who is not a natural shortstop.
You range to your right as a shortstop, and it's then about arm strength and how quick can I get up, and he did both of them very well.
J.P. Crawford expected back for the Phillies before too long. Yasmani Grandal with a man at second and 2 out. Talk about each mound being different. Clayton Kershaw is a guy who will go to that mound the day before his start if it's the first time that he's pitched there. And do some visualization. Just go through some dry deliveries. Grandal in the air to center field. Herrera's back on it. At the wall with a leap and a catch. Odubel Herrera, who's been one of the top hitters in the National League so far this year, with a tremendous defensive play.
He times this perfectly, takes a last read at the wall, and captures it.
And a matchup of two very good pitchers. They've needed some help from the defense so far.
Well, they've gotten some help in the infield and in the outfield. Fitzvalera with a diver. Kingery at short for the Phillies was absolutely amazing going to the hole. And this last play that took the Dodgers out of the inning would have been a run and a lead, but no.
No double. Carlos Santana to lead off the second. Thank you for laughing at my terrible jokes, Earl. You're a good partner.
No, probably because I make the same ones.
Yeah.
Yours are much more intelligent.
Strike one.
Usually.
Carlos Santana having a great month of May and especially good lately, hitting .414 over an 8-game hitting streak. Kershaw misses away, 1-1. Like the change up there, perhaps.
81 on the radar gun tells me it was. Arm side.
One and two.
It's going to be a story if it continues, and the fastball so far today is 88 to 91, which is a little off of where he is when he is really right.
Soft bouncer back to him. Santana, the first out of the inning. Yeah, a year ago, Oral, he averaged better than 93 with the fastball. So far this year, and it's been a story for being down this year, he's averaged 91.9.
Rarely over the course of his career have we heard that he and Rick Honeycutt are working on mechanics, and they really believe that the delivery is slightly off and he's working towards making that better. I know they review a lot of old footage and try to find the exact piece that they've been missing, but a lot of it has to do with timing and rhythm.
First one to Nikhyl Franco. Caught the miss right out of his helmet on a slider. Something that he did like 20 times 2 years ago. Swung himself right out of his helmet, and it's been a focus, not explicitly trying to not swing out of his helmet, but just be a little more controlled.
If your head's moving that much to throw the helmet, what do you think the eyes are seeing? Maybe lose the
front shoulder. The back shoulder comes through a little bit farther. Lose your posture a little bit. Swing hard. Rattle the eyes and the path of the bat.
On a 1-1 pitch, Franco takes it inside. 2-1. Three balls, one strike. Kershaw facing a Phillies team here that actually has a losing record against in his career. There are only 3 teams that can say they have winning records against Clayton Kershaw: the Phillies, the Pirates, and the Texas Rangers. Something about that Pennsylvania water. 3-2. Kershaw's next start actually will line up for him to face Pittsburgh. He walks Franco. Actually, now that I think about that, the start after that's going to come against Texas. So 3 starts in a row against the teams he has losing records against. And Nick Williams, a couple of home runs in this series, and going back over the last week plus or so, that is 4 home runs in his last 9 games.
He has done a nice job in this series when being pitched in of clearing his hips and his front shoulder, getting his hands inside the ball and powering the ball to right field.
Kershaw starts him with a fastball strike. One of the many young, talented players on this roster. A year ahead of schedule, according to most. We've kind of lined things up to be able to spend next season on the big free agent class. This year, after a 1-4 start, they've gone 29-19. That's second best in the National League. What do you think about their staying power this year?
I think they're going to end up a 500 or a little above, just as they continue to learn and grow. And it's always hard for young teams to just be really consistent. They're just learning themselves still and how to produce on a day in and day out basis, what routines they want to use. They're probably still making adjustments to their daily routines. They have so much talent. That's why I think they've risen so quickly.
Well, above 500 would qualify as improvement, as growth. Curve ripped into center, base hit. Nick Williams with a single, 2 on with 1 out. It's been since 2011 that the Phillies have finished above 500.
Another one of those swings by Williams where he pulls his hands in and gets inside the ball to the bat on in line. It's kind of a hanging breaking ball, but in hanging like that, it could have jammed himself, but he stayed inside it very well.
Two on, 1 out, no score in the second, and Scott Kingery the hitter. Strike 1.
Double play ball last inning helped Clayton, and right here he'll be looking for a double play ball to end this inning.
After a rare hit against his curveball, especially rare coming against a left-handed hitter. Is 0-1. Kingery fouls it back, 0-2. It's been the fastball that's gotten hit around this year for Kershaw. Opponents above 300 against it. But the breaking stuff still very effective. Below 200 between the slider and the curve.
In some ways, it's going to become the new normal with the fastball down until he finds the mechanical change or the change to get back to 93. Right before he went on the DL, he was starting to creep back up there again. We saw some 93s and 94. We saw it more consistent at the 91 level.
1-2.
I'll tell you one thing, though. He's been working so hard through the month to get back out there. It is so much fun to pitch. It is so much fun to get back on a big league field. I mean, I know he's out there working and he's grinding, but in the midst of that grinding, that's what you grow to love. You grow to love to compete.
It's a swing and a miss with a back foot slider. His first punch out of the game, 2 gone in the second.
The moment the hitter's bat misses this ball, you get a rush of adrenaline. You get a rush of, wow, this is why I put all the work in. And then you have to turn your head back to the next hitter and get in this last out.
Which has not been an easy thing to do this week. Jorge Alfaro has 4 doubles in this series. Yet another young piece for the Phillies, still just 24 years old. It's quite a promising battery they have today with Alfaro, catching Nola, both 24. Strike 1. Franco at second. Williams at first. Kershaw home 0-1. That one slips out of his hand. A ball and a strike. Dodgers 10-3 in their last 13 games following that 6-game losing streak. 6-3 on this homestand. A chance to make it a really successful 10-game homestand. Curve into center. Bellinger will play it on a bounce. Franco headed for the plate. Bellinger's throw is off of Grandal's glove and he's safe. He actually caught it off of the bobble, but that initial bobble is going to cost the Dodgers a run.
Pitcher number 27.
Ball falls awfully close to Cody, and he knows he's not going to get to it. But that short hop right there, I'm not sure with 2 outs, he doesn't need to give the bluff like he's going to catch it because the runners are going with 2 outs no matter what.
And I was wrong. He didn't catch the bobble.
He just clanked a little bit there. I think Cody, in some ways, forgot how many outs there were when he kind of deked like he was going to catch it to get him to ease up or stop. The runners are going to continue on with 2 outs no matter what you do, and you're not going to deke anybody.
It's an RBI single for Alfaro and a 1-0 Phillies lead. Kershaw working against Aaron Nola now. Ball on a strike. Does Franco ever touch home?
That's what I was surprised at. Yasmani didn't go back and grab the ball and go touch him, and then they could just review it.
It's actually not even close.
No.
call Grandal out here, having a hard time getting on the same page. Now he wants to deal with the opposing pitcher. Phillies 2 hits and a walk in this inning, and it's the walk that comes around to score. The 2-out hit from Jorge Alfaro.
Not on the plate. He's not on the plate. Very surprised he got a safe sign out of the umpire. Usually they're supposed to stand there and just wait and wait.
Runners advance on this wild pitch. Second and third with 2 gone.
It gives you a clue as a catcher that they did miss home because there hasn't been a safe or an out sign.
Almost surprised that it was so egregious. Almost surprised the Phillies dugout didn't shout at him, go back and touch it, with the ball having kicked away from Grandal a little bit. Hate to call attention to it, but it was not particularly close. On a 3-1 pitch, Nola swings and misses, perhaps at ball 4.
In some way, Franco knows he didn't touch it, so when the glove hits his leg, he doesn't know the ball's not in there, so he might have just assumed he was out.
Yeah.
And just continued on to the dugout, so it's like everybody was in the dark.
Kershaw's 3-2 is strike 3 called over the inside corner. Will Little with a bit of a delayed call. The Phillies strike first to the bottom of the second, 1-0. Of the second. And go back to that run scoring play.
Yeah, he hasn't scored yet, but he is on the scoreboard. Bellinger with the deke and then the throw. Yasmani with a chance to pick the throw. Watch Will Little, the umpire, at the top of the screen. He'll end up giving a safe sign. And there it is. Now he's safe. Is he safe because he touched home plate? Is he safe because there was a tag and Yasmani dropped the ball? Why is he safe when he hasn't touched home plate? And I think it was a mistake by the home plate umpire in giving the safe sign. He should have stood there and just continued to watch the play, which would then have given Yasmani a chance to go, oh, he hasn't given a sign yet. Better go tag him, grab the ball, even if you got to chase him into the dugout.
34-year-old Will Little, 4.5 major league seasons. Danny Lehman, one of the Dodgers game planning coordinators and coaches, very heavily involved in game planning and how to attack hitters. Hashing things over with Yasmani Grandal. Cody Bellinger to start this second against Aaron Nola. With that new setup, And he produced a couple of hits yesterday. First multi-hit game for Bellinger since May 8th. He had been 3 for his previous 41 before yesterday. That's in for a strike, 1-1.
The new setup, if you weren't with us yesterday, a wider stance and the bat being straight up and down a little bit more instead of resting on his shoulder flat and then trying to time bringing the bat up to where it is now when he goes to launch it. Tries to time that with kind of his trigger to begin his swing. And now instead of using that as a trigger or a timing mechanism, he actually starts with it with the barrel up.
On a 1-2. Takes it high, 2 balls, 2 strikes. He said he really just wanted to simplify, be as quiet as he could in the stance. Be able to punish mistakes at a higher rate. Takes a fastball away and the count goes full.
It looks like he has a little earlier load into his back leg, the inside part of his back leg also.
A 3-2. Bellinger bounces one to Santana at first. Will step in the bag. One guy.
Right fielder number 66, Yasiel Puig.
Now it's Yasiel Puig, who had yesterday off. Since returning from the disabled list, all 5 of those home runs have come from Puig. He's hitting below 200 before the DL stint, hitting closer to 300 now. Or at least in this month of May. Takes curve for a strike.
Yasiel was out early today here. There was no batting practice for the Dodgers on the field, but he came out early and did some soft toss drills in the cage on the field. Of his own extra work. Really trying to drive the ball up the middle or to right center during that drill. Just keeps his front shoulder in. Keeps his bat path kind of headed straight towards the pitcher, so he goes through the ball, not around the ball.
Some of those shadows starting to make their way onto the diamond. Puig gets his hands in, rolls it along third. Franco scoops and throws in time to get him 2 out.
Second baseman number 33, Raymond Valera.
So 2 up, 2 down here in the second for Nola. And the Dodgers have seen one time. You mentioned no starts at Dodger Stadium for him, but faced the Dodgers in Philadelphia last year. Held him to 2 runs over 7 innings. His first pitch to Breivik Valera is in there for a strike. For Nola, last year was a bounce back season, and one where he really began to emerge into the guy that they had hoped they were drafting 7th overall. The year before had an injured elbow, and naturally some questions popped up about his long-term durability. The long-term prospects of him becoming an ace. Missed the final 2 months of 2016 with that strain in the elbow. Falls behind Valera 2-1. Then comes back last year, wins 12 games, had an ERA around 3.5. Besides getting healthy, he tweaked the mechanics some, and then he altered his between start routine and his bullpens before games to have way fewer pitches. Valera smacks one on the ground at second. Hernandez will throw him out. And a 1-2-3 inning for Aaron Nola, who estimates that he throws about 8,000 pitches less per year with this new routine.
And at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
A run on 3 hits and a walk against Kershaw through 2 innings. Second time through the order now. Begins with a strike on Hernandez. He struck the first pitch that he saw today for a base hit into center. 1 ball, 1 strike this time. At 28 years old on this team, qualifies as old. Fly to right. Yasiel Puig with the shades on this bright afternoon makes the catch. 1 gone.
Number 23, Aaron Altair.
As far as pitch count or innings count today for Clayton Kershaw, Dave Roberts saying that it'll be based on what he sees with his eyes, not necessarily a number that he's looking at. Not all pitches, not all innings created equally. Wanted to see how Kershaw looked. Altair hits one hard to third. Justin Turner, low throw dugout. Stars on both ends of it.
We're going to have to try and slow this one down for you on the Morongo slow-mo cam so you can see it. Justin Turner had to do it. The reality of that was a bullet. Nice play by Muncie on the other end, getting that 1-hop throw.
Two up, 2 down in the third, and here's Odubel Herrera taking a strike.
Without Nolan Arenado, Justin Turner's a Gold Glover. That was some play.
Justin gives a lot of credit to Chris Woodward for the way that his defensive game has grown. Woodward in his 3rd year as the third base coach, but also kind of the infield coach. Corey Seager would tell you the same thing.
Both of them have worked really hard with Chris on their footwork. Chris is so detail oriented and accurate.
Herrera bounces one back to Kershaw, who's got his best inning of the game on 7 pitches. 1, 2, 3 for the Phillies. As the third base coach, talking about his impact with the infielders on this roster. He played 12 seasons in the majors as a utility infielder and was never the most talented guy, so he always had to try and find the little ways to gain an advantage. And we're talking 400 level stuff here that he would try to do, and he tries to pass on to guys. Hernandez fouls back the first, Nola offering strike one. Woodward is a shortstop. And there are other guys that do this, but there aren't many, would try to read the pitch out of the pitcher's hand to see if it was headed to the location that he wanted it. Not just checking the location that was called for, but trying to read it in the few feet out of the hand to see if there was a good chance it was going to be hit where he thought it was based on where the pitch was called for.
That's a very early lean in anticipation, and he is all about that.
Hernandez pops one into center for Herrera.
It's very hard for me to compliment Chris in a long-winded way, because every day when I'm around him, he reminds me who he got his first big league hit off of.
That is right.
He always rubs it in. It's a lot of fun. If we're back behind the batting cage visiting, and all of a sudden another player walks up from the opposing team just to say hi to him from the past. Do you remember who I got my first big league hit off? I'm like, come on, Chris, let's go.
Line drive, I hear.
Oh, in the book.
Clayton Kershaw takes strike one.
But he is so good at teaching infield. You can just by watching him hit ground balls and say, so tell me about that play right there. Well, you see that the way the glove is open and the way the angle of the thumb is, and he pushes the glove forward as the last bounce comes. It's like, yeah, that's going to be really good. That'll be consistent.
He is, I think, pretty unequivocally a future manager somewhere. Interviewed for the Yankees opening this offseason. 2 balls, 1 strike on Kershaw.
Ron Washington took that path of a great third base coach, a great infield coach, and then getting a chance to manage.
And you see so many teams, really all teams now, not really worried about it if you don't have previous managing experience. There's 6 first-time managers this year in baseball. 5 of them are managing for the first time, including that man there, Gabe Kapler. And of course, Dave Roberts, same can be said for him when he took over in 2016. Kershaw punches it foul. It's still 2-2. When you go back to the beginning of the 2016, and starting with Dave Roberts' class of managers that year, 9 of the last 13 major league managers are first timers.
Changing of the guard.
Comes back to get Kershaw 2 out.
In my day, the manager was the wise old owl. He had been through the minor leagues. He had worked his way up, maybe been a big league player, and then big league coach, and then managed winter ball. You'd have to build your resume there. And then you finally get the job, and you've seen it all and done it all. But then as technology and television networks and more games on TV and all the games being analyzed at another level, the role has continually changed with the manager. And you don't have to be the wise old owl. You actually have to be like a corporate leader. Where the guys in every department probably know more than you about their department.
Chuck Peterson, second trip to the order, ball 1.
But you're there to create a consensus and make final decisions, and really a big role in team chemistry, dealing with the media.
One and one. Going to be a people person now. And when you think about the traditional manager you're talking about, the old guard.
He was the boss.
Yeah. A little gruff. Not necessarily people person, just talking Johnny manager, you know.
Well, be any way he really wanted to be, because you're not going to cross him. And if it was a firm grip he had on his team, or if it was a loose grip, it was his style that was allowed. But now, you know, with the players being so valuable and the contracts being long.
Bouncing ball, Hernandez. Throw Peterson out. We'll continue this conversation on the other side of the break. by Jack in the Box. Try the new Cholula Buttery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family, only at Jack in the Box. Wonderful day back in Southern California. Dodgers trying to take 3 of 4 from the Phillies. They'll have to do it in come from behind fashion today, with Philadelphia getting 1 in the second. Joe, Orl, and Alana, glad you're with us. Hope you're having a great week. Clayton Kershaw has returned from the disabled list. A run on 3 hits and a walk through 3. We're talking about the evolving role of the manager in baseball and how 5 of the first timers, or 5 of the 6 managers this year, the new guys, are all first timers. All 5 of them have winning records at this point. Carlos Santana starts the 4th, swings at the first pitch in short center field. Into that bright sunshine, Valera calmly catches.
It seems like that maybe the same set of skills are needed for the manager today, but different weightings. You know, you talk about the people skills, you talk about dealing with the media, you talk about dealing with the locker room and not losing the locker room, having good team chemistry, dealing with statistics and writing the lineup on a daily basis. I think the biggest shift for the manager is that so much help now coming down from the front office to help them manage the game.
And how do you manage that? Nikhyl Franco, backdoor slider for a strike.
And how do you communicate, you know, that to the players? You know, what's the hitters' meetings going to be like? What's the pitchers' meeting going to be like? The starters, the relievers.
Franco turns on it, high drive left center field. Back to the wall goes Peterson, and just enough room to catch it. 2 gone.
Heart is in your throat when the ball leaves the bat if you're Clayton Kershaw, but then you see Jock Peterson's route start to ease and you go, okay, maybe it's going to stay in here, and then you remember, oh, day game, ball's carrying pretty good. I hope he doesn't run out of room.
It sure is carrying well today. You're right. Paul Grandal hit in the first inning that was caught at the wall. That didn't look like it was hit very well off of the bat. Ball 1 on Nick Williams. You know, Aaron Boone and Alex Cora, who have managed the teams with the 2 best records in baseball right now, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Neither one of those guys had any kind of managing experience. Aaron Boone had never even coached. Of course, spent the last 8 years in television. Two and 1 on Williams. Alex Cora had managed a little bit in winter ball, and then last year was the bench coach for the Astros under A.J. Hinch, but no big league managing experience for him. And they're off to fabulous starts. Williams bangs a base hit into center. 2 for 2 against Kershaw. This 4th inning kept alive.
We are seeing Nick Williams at his best this year. Coming into the game hitting .229, but he has looked like a much better hitter than those numbers.
Scott Kingery with 2 gone.
You know, when I say so much help is coming down from the front office, of course, it's the statistics and the sabermetrics and all the defensive positioning and all of that that comes down to help formulate the lineup and the position of the defense.
That pop is flared into short right field. Valera settles under it, and that's that in the 4th. Heroes. Besides being one of the all-time great Dodgers, Don Newcomb, a great American, served 2 years in the Korean War in the U.S. Army. Always great seeing Nuke around the ballpark. And if he's not here, you can pretty much be sure he's at home watching the game. Next Muncie leads off the fourth and takes ball one from Aaron Nola. Regal, Don Newcomb.
It just brings a smile to my face just thinking about him.
You talk about Sandy Koufax having fingers that can wrap around the ball.
Oh.
Don Newcomb's hand makes the ball look like a
ping pong ball.
Yeah.
Bigger than Sandy's.
Muncie down the line, hooking to the corner. Foul.
You find a hitter that can track a ball the way Max Muncie can and understand the strike zone, stay on it to be able to hit it to the opposite field, but then show you a swing like that where they can just turn on it, like, get out of my kitchen, I can get to that ball. That's impressive.
The Dodgers still looking for their first hit against Aaron Nola, who carried a no-hitter into the seventh against the Blue Jays on Saturday. Tried to bring it back, but missed. Ball three.
Statistically, Muncie's got to have a hole there because it seems like the league defaults to pitching him inside. They do not like to throw him a fastball away.
Come back in on a 3-1, and it's grounded to short right. Hernandez for the first out.
Number 10, Justin Turner.
1-0 Phillies, fourth inning. Here's Justin Turner. Curve swung on and missed, strike one.
Nola now is the complete three-pitch pitcher. Fastball changeup early was working really well. The changeup he was able to throw for a strike also with the fastball, but now the curveball has come along. And so you can expect all three of them now this time around in the order.
The curveball has more horizontal movement to it than any curveball in the majors.
So that would make it a sweeper compared to that 12-6.
Or would it make it a slider? You know, it's like
exactly. If it horizontally it breaks more than what, 8 inches, then it's a curveball. But if it's under 8 to 8,
yeah,
it's a slider.
Shadows covering home now. Turner taps it gently to the hole at short. Kingery juggles, and it cost him. Well, poor defense opened the door in the first game of this series, allowing the Dodgers to collect their largest come-from-behind win of the season, and cracking the door open here in the fourth.
This is why you run every single one out, because of that bobble could happen. It's only going to happen maybe 6 or 7 times out of 100. But you surely don't want to be dogging it down the first base line when it does happen, and Justin Turner ran it out.
It brings Grandal up. Flied out to the wall his first time. Leaping play by Odubel Herrera. Continuing a rocky month of May. Grandal hitting 191 this month after he was at 315 in April. Ball one inside. Probably more than any other position, you see catchers go through wild swings as far as hot and cold.
The wear and tear behind the plate, the foul tips that might get in your hands or your knees, so all of a sudden you just don't have the same ability to explode to stay in your hitting posture.
That's ripped. Knocked down by Kingery. He will tag Turner. 2 out.
Kingery is boxing up a dozen of these donuts that he can't. He's slipping on him with the glove there. That got the heel of his glove.
Making me hungry.
A lot of the fielders after the first inning, when the light was so consistent, now that the light has changed, we've seen guys kind of struggle with the ball, leaving home plate and going out into the sunlight.
You figure this is the time where the shadows are the most difficult on the hitter. But that's a high fly ball to right. Bellinger getting well under it, and Aaron Altair making the catch to retire the side. We've played 4. He took a no-hitter into the 7th his first time. He'll take one into the 5th here. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Your summer starts here at your Toyota dealer. Get incredible deals on a stylish new Corolla. Clayton Kershaw returned from the disabled list this afternoon. He's given up a run through 4 innings, and the pitch count sitting at just 51.
Before Clayton went on the DL, he could have sued for lack of support. It looks like he's jumped right back into the same offensive support. So far, the Dodgers have struggled. They don't even have a hit to help him out.
One night after they had their most hits in the month of May, most runs in the month of May. But last night kind of the outlier for the offense. Even though they've been winning games, the offense has not been particularly explosive. 8-9-1. It's Jorge Alfaro to lead it off. Takes the first pitch for a strike. Alfaro's RBI single accounting for the game's scoring. And kind of a weird play back in the second. Dropped it in front of Bellinger, whose throw to the plate was on the money, but Grandal couldn't hang on. What made it even weirder is that even though he didn't hang on, probably still shouldn't have been a run because Nikhyl Franco never touched home plate. That's the lone run of the game. Kershaw's 0-2. Strike 3 called to the bottom of the zone. His third.
A lot of times to right-handed hitters, he's trying to come down and in. That one doesn't quite make it, but it had a nice break and stayed down by the knees and caught it.
Now the opposing pitcher, Nola, takes a strike. A curve for a strike. Even though he's only at 56 pitches, remember Dave Roberts said before the game his limit would be determined by how Dave Roberts thought he looked. Strikes out Nola. Back-to-back Ks to open this 5th inning. And as you saw a moment ago, Pedro Baez has started to loosen.
Clayton just went with 3 different speeds right there. 86 mile an hour, just get over fastball, then a 69 mile an hour curve, and a little bit of a slider there at the end. 82.
Third trip through the order now. Cesar Hernandez taking ball 1. And this has been, at least for the first month of Kershaw's season, when things have gotten bumpy. Opponent's hitting .340 the 3rd time through. Strike 1-1. Now the curve lands for a strike, and it's 1-2.
He amazes how he can come right off the disabled list, not even go any rehab games, and still command the strike zone.
And it's all relative because he didn't have any offense and is trailing, but to be pitching pretty efficiently without his usual stuff. Strike 3 call. Well, he was getting ready to catch the ball back from Grandal and get back to work, but instead he strikes out this side in the 5th, and we are halfway home in a 1-0 game.
June 8th at 7:10 when the Dodgers return home and take on the Braves. After the game, enjoy Friday night fireworks presented by Denny's, set to an LGBT night mix. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Dave Roberts and Clayton Kershaw engaged in discussion as Yasiel Puig gets ready to start the 5th inning against Aaron Nola. Dodgers still looking for their first hit. Kershaw's spot is due up 4th in this inning, and you saw last inning Pedro Baez was loosening with Kershaw just 62 pitches. (2-0) on Puig.
You might build up to 60 pitches in your simulated game, but the pitch intensity in a big league game completely different, so that is a heavier workload than where he is coming from.
Down the left field line. Puig drops it into the corner. Ricochets hard to Williams. Comes up gun into second, but to no avail. On a leadoff double for Puig. First hit of the game for the Dodgers opens the fifth.
Breaking ball that hangs on the inner half, and Yasiel doesn't try to do too much with it. Just puts a nice solid swing on it. Drives it down in the corner for the first hit. Dodgers had a 13-hit attack last night. They are looking to win another series. It's either going to be a split or they win the series, depending on the outcome of this game.
Finally a hit against Nola. Took a no-hitter into the seventh in his last start, and here he takes it into the fifth. Until Puig doubles, and now Valera taking a ball. Valera's 0 for 1 today. And 1 for 6 in this series since getting called back up. Just by the back foul.
Well, you like the attempt. Pull the ball. And Yasiel to third. Maybe you get a hit also.
One thing the Dodgers have working in their favor is the deep pitch counts that they were able to run in the early innings. And so he's nearing 70, but nobody out in the fifth. Puig gets second, nobody out. And on a 1-1 pitch, Valera digs it out. Roller to second. Hernandez thought about it and will go to first. Valera getting the job done. A productive out to send the tying run to third. And we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. Joe Davis and Orr Hershiser. And the Dodgers, similar story to the first couple games of this series, trying to crack through against Philly's starter.
Yeah, try to get to the starter, but it's really important in these close games like this that you make the routine plays and you get those routine runs. And this has got a chance right now to become a routine run. After Yasiel Puig hits the double, they move him over.
Nikhyl Hernandez to bat here.
At the end of one of these games, if you don't get this run in from third, you'll look back and go, that's where we lost it.
Ball one.
What a present to Clayton Kershaw if they could get to this inning. He's looking for his second victory of the season. First, you have to spit the hook.
Loops over the corner for strike one. Puig at third, started the inning with a double. Moved over on the Valera ground out. And with the infield pulled in, Nola's ready to deal this 1-1. Comes back and it's banged past a diving Santana for a game-tying base hit. Kike Hernandez ties the game at 1.
Arco top tier play, and Kike hits it hard. Infield drawn in. Scoots it under the glove of Santana. Couple of hits that sandwich a nice at bat by Valera, and getting Puig to third. Very much a team run.
And now to be Chris Taylor to officially end Clayton Kershaw's day. Pinch hitting for the Dodger lefty. At the knees, strike one. Dodgers top 10 in baseball in both advancing the runner from second to third with nobody out and getting the runner home from third with less than 2 out. It didn't feel like that was the case for much of the first 2 months, but quietly it has been.
The eye test was they were striking out too much and not getting many hits. But they're right up there with the productive out. This offense will really start to fly when they start get some of those crucial hits with runners in scoring position. The power seems to be coming back.
That's how they've been able to overcome a lack of a high on base, lack of a high average. And we're out to this 10-3 stretch.
Stolen base is not a big part of the Dodger offensive game, but Nola has given up quite a few of those this year. So he's a little slow to the plate. There is a rocket gun behind the plate in the arm of Alfaro.
That's for sure.
He has been fun to watch this series.
You know, the data says that Jorge Alfaro calls a higher percentage of fastballs low and away with a man on first to tee himself up to show off that arm. And he saw one there that Taylor took for ball one. Gets him swinging. On to the second punch out for Aaron Nola. Two gone here in the fifth as they flip it around to the top of the order again.
Jock had a couple of hits yesterday and he's yet to get one here in his third plate appearance. Slide out to center, grounded out to second.
Pops the first pitch straight back, strike one. Thought you had a chance at that one, huh?
Yes. Getting it ready, but no. Got to protect Rick and Boyd. I know you can hold your own, but those two back there, they kind of blinded.
Good looking out, Bulldog. Hernandez leads at first. Nola pitches. Peterson takes the ball.
It's not the best light for playing baseball, but it sure is a pretty office that we come to every day.
Yeah, isn't it? Where else would you rather be?
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
On a 1-1, Peterson swings and misses at a back foot curve from Nola. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Aaron Nola, 24-year-old out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, stayed there to go to LSU. Golden Spikes Award winner. This is the Heisman Trophy of college baseball. Now in his 4th year in the majors, despite would yet to celebrate his 25th birthday. Here's his 1-2. Peterson pulls it down the line, foul. We've seen more pitches barreled up, whether or not they've stayed fair, but more pitches barreled up and sent far from Jock Peterson in this series than any other this year, I think.
I think you're right. I think the eye test would come back and the data would say the same thing as far as the exit velocities. I don't know if they keep exit velocities on foul balls.
Sure, they're stored somewhere, right? In some back office, back room.
Somebody looking for an edge to find that guy.
It's a really hard foul if we could just get him to straighten it out. Yeah, I would not be surprised if that data was accessible.
And then you go to your hitting coach and you say, why is this guy pulling the ball so foul but hitting it hard? Well, he's got this little approach here. If we can iron that out, we'll get that same bat speed in fair territory. All right, maybe make a trade for him.
Peterson stays alive. Yeah, there's so much available to the public now, but there is so much that none of us see. Teams are accessing and using to make decisions, evaluations.
Game theory. A lot of game theory. What really wins a baseball game?
Another 1-2 from Nola. Peterson chops another foul. Nola's pitch count at 82 now. His first inning didn't allow a run, but threw more pitches than all but one inning that he's had this year. 7th one to Jack Peterson is way high, and it's 2-2. PK hiding behind Santana. You don't want to get in the way of one of those Alfaro throws.
Alfaro, with the propensity to backpick, he cuts down on your secondary lead. When the secondary lead is shorter, then the middle infielders have a little more time to record that out at second. The ball's hit into the outfield. You got a little bit more time to throw the guy out at third or home. He's affecting a lot of the base running.
Peterson strikes out. Battled Nola, who ultimately wins that battle on the 8th pitch. But the Dodgers have tied the game, taking advantage of the leadoff double from Puig. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Carl's Jr. Take your mouth to Memphis. The call of Carl's. 1-1 game, 6th inning, and the game handed over to the bullpen, and Pedro Baez, who's in, who's out, brought to you by In-N-Out Burger.
He's coming in with 1 day off, where these Phillies kind of roughed him up a little bit in his 1 inning pitched on the 29th. A couple of hits. He did get a couple of strikeouts, but he gave up a run and a walk. Pedro Baez has been at its best this year when there has been no traffic caused by him walking someone. A hit's not bad, but it's the walk that seems to spiral his confidence, and the hitters seem to gain a lot of confidence and make better approaches at him when he's struggling with that command.
Going to have to deal with the heart of the order here. Altair, Herrera, and Santana. Dodgers trying to take 3 of 4 from these Phillies. It'd be a 4th consecutive series win. It'd finish off a 7-3 homestand which feels a whole lot different than 6-4. Ball one.
Of all the teams in the National League West, the Dodgers are moving in the right direction. Last 10 games, 7-3. Nobody else in the division is over 500 in the last 10 games. Getting Clayton Kershaw back today. Ross Stripling really showing himself well. Last 3 starts. Walker Buehler has been amazing. Can't wait to see him pitch again. So even with guys on the disabled list and Rich Hill still down, starting rotation has done well, waiting for Rich Hill and Clayton Kershaw to come back and Ryu to come back. Since May 2nd, when Clayton went down, 2.99 ERA for the starters, 4th in the NL.
3 balls, no strikes to start Baez this afternoon.
He has heard some boo birds here at Dodger Stadium, and that is not good because it takes a lot for people here to boo the home team.
3-0 green light, strike one.
Pedro is a very hard trier, but a very sensitive guy. He needs that support from his teammates and from his bullpen mates. Keep pumping him up because he has tremendous ability and was unbelievable for about, what, 2/3 of the season last year, getting down the heart of the order.
At least the first half.
The first half for sure. He was the guy in the bullpen to any high leverage situation.
He's gotten back into a full count.
Just like today, you know, who do you count on from the 6th inning on to go through the heart of the order? And it was Pedro Baez. Made a few adjustments this year, trying to throw a few more sliders and a few more change-ups so he doesn't default to that high-end fastball as much. Really and truly for him, and the path to success consistently is strike one, getting ahead.
After falling behind 3-0, he's worked it back full, and he strikes out Altair. If he could just do that from pitch one.
Center fielder, Odubel Herrera.
Yep, he succeeds, but the path to that success was a lot harder than it should have been.
One game in the 6th. Odubel Herrera comes up.
4 Phillies in a row now struck out. Clayton Kershaw ended his day striking out the side.
Herrera 2 for 15 in this series. Steps out of there on a strike. Stuff like that that still irks some of the Phillies folks. As fun as he is to watch, as productive as he's been, there are those little things here and there. He was benched several times a year ago by Pete Buchanan for a lack of hustle and other things. Still a young player, although they have him locked up long term.
Does he have a little Puig in him?
There's some Puig in there.
Yep. He's just out there Herreraing.
That's a hard one to say.
Yeah, I know.
Herrera-ing. Did it again. This time it was a ball, and it's 1-1.
Maybe he's backing out because Pedro's throwing close to 96, 97 miles an hour, and he can't see it. We're back into the visuals again, but it's happening.
Herrera, 26 years old. 4th year in the majors now. He's wrapped up through 2023 by the Phillies. One of the first guys that they signed long term in this rebuilding project. Takes it outside, 2-1. He was actually a Texas Ranger farmhand to begin his career, and a good one. He won a Double-A batting title in 2014. Was a Winter League MVP that same year, but he was just blocked by better prospects and guys at the major league level. And so they exposed him to the Rule 5 draft. That's how he came to the Phillies. And moved from the 40-man roster. On a 2-1 pitch, he takes it in the dirt. And he's ahead 3-1. Herrera was in his hotel room when he got the call or the news that the Phillies had claimed him. Actually found out on Twitter, and then had somebody explain to him exactly what it meant, that it probably meant he was going to be a big leaguer, and broke down in tears. The way that it works is that if you're selected in the Rule 5 draft, the team that chooses you has to keep you on the major league roster that entire year, or they've got to offer you back to where you came from. 3-2. You know about Pedro's tempo issues, always one of the slowest workers in baseball among pitchers. Well, Odubel Herrera over the last few seasons has been the slowest working hitter. And you can argue how much control the hitter has over that with the new pace of play rules they have. The major league average about 24 seconds between pitches. Odubel Herrera averages more than 30 between pitches. And he's admitted that he likes doing that, stepping out, getting in the hitter's head or in the pitcher's head a little bit. And he said to it helps him relax, taking his time. Well, Baez again battles back to get a strikeout, 2 away in the 6th.
Well, he has turned a few of the Boo Birds into a house of cheers with these 2 strikeouts.
That is now 5 consecutive strikeouts from Dodger pitching. Kershaw's last 3 batters, and now the first 2 for Baez. The always dangerous Carlos Santana. On the first pitch, a pop-up. It'll reach the seats. One ball, one strike. And we're talking about the division kind of coming back to the Dodgers, and Dodgers being in the best position as far as where they're trending. Diamondbacks off today, but 4-16 in their last 20. And the Giants haven't been much better. 7-15 in their last 22. This looking change up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Rockies, while their offense has gotten hot the last few, they've moved into first place with a 9-11 run.
That's the kind of run the Dodgers are on.
When you widen it up, yeah.
What is it? 10 out of the last 13?
Right, but following a 6-game losing streak.
Right.
So, yep.
It would be fun to go to Colorado. They should try and polish this one off, get a W, and go to Colorado and go toe-to-toe with the first-place team.
Baez strikes out the side, taking advantage of that tall zone from Will Little. And he gets Altair, Herrera, and Santana.
And all with heaters, but he mixed in the changeup. He responded to a 3-0 count on the first batter to strike out the side. Seager as he begins his rehab process after having Tommy John surgery. Plus, Seager is mic'd up in the dugout during a Dodger win over the Rockies. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers, presented by Cadillac, tomorrow after the post-game show on Sportsnet LA.
Both starters effective in this one. Clayton Kershaw 1 run over 5 innings in his return. Aaron Nola 1 run over 5 innings, and on he goes to the 6th. Max Muncie looks at ball 1. Muncie today is 0 for 1. As the lone walk against Nola. To the back door for a strike. It's 1-1. By the way, we need to say happy birthday to Dave Roberts. Dodger manager turning 46 years old today. Same pitch, same result, 1-2.
Doesn't look a day over 60.
That's not nice.
Testing our friendship.
Neither do you.
Not until September 17th.
Yeah. Muncie chases an elevated fastball, 1 out. Nola's 4th K.
Third baseman, Justin Turner.
Tied at 1 in the 6th inning. Up comes Justin Turner. Hey, happy birthday to Director of Travel Scott Akasaki's son Timothy, who turned 5 today.
That's awesome. Akasaki family is so sweet, so nice. Scott takes care of us when we're on the road, sometimes even when we're home.
Breaking pitch for a strike. Expecting another baby. I believe it's number 47 for the Akasaki clan.
Yeah, testing your friendship with Scott, huh?
Turner lifts one to left field, but got it off the end of the bat. Hooked it to Williams, 2 out. In a 1-1 game, you start to watch that flight of the ball with your heart. Try to will it out of here, but it dies, and 2 gone for Grandal.
Especially somebody like Justin Turner, whose power swing is so smooth, so he can fool you with the smooth swing, and it goes a long way, or the smooth swing, and it's off the end.
One of the hardest hit balls of the day came from this man, Yasmani Grandal. It's robbed at the wall by Odubel Herrera. Now that in 2. Nola's command has gotten better as the game has gone on. He was struggling to find the zone in the 1st inning. He's K'd 3 of the last 4. They get 4 of the last 5 as Will Little stays consistent with that high strike zone. Yasmani Grandal's had as good a view of it as anybody catching the Dodgers today. Brewing Company. And Clayton Kershaw has returned from the disabled list. Very effective over his 5 innings. Might not have had the same overpowering stuff he sometimes does, but really found it towards the end of that outing, striking out the final 3 that he faced.
And the 1 ER there, the earned run. Guy never even touched home plate.
Yeah. Josh Fields on to pitch the 7th.
A good comeback from Clayton, and Josh Fields coming on right here in a 1-1 game. Bullpen has really squared itself away as much as the rotation has, and so the pitching during this hot streak has been the main component that has really carried them.
Josh Fields going to face a couple of powerful hitters here, and Nikhyl Franco, who has 8 home runs, and Nick Williams, who has 4 in his last 9 games. And when things have gone south for Fields, it's been off of home runs. So trying to keep the ball in the yard and keep this a 1-1 game. Hard hit on the first pitch. Kike Hernandez there. 1-out. Now Fields has allowed 6 runs this year. 5 have come off of homers. So when he's able to keep it in the yard, he is as effective as anybody. As the Dodgers continue to search for 1 or 2 guys to step forward as the high leverage guys and a bridge to Kenley Jansen. Fields trying to make his case. Nick Williams, strike 1. Phillies have 4 hits today. Williams has 2. Couple of hard line drives against Kershaw. One and one. One ball and 2 strikes. The Rockies are off today, so the Dodgers with a chance to drop the division deficit down to 3, going into a 3-game series with those Rockies. In the air to short left field. Peterson was very deep. A long way to go, but got there easily. 2 out. Dave Roberts announcing that tomorrow will more or less be a bullpen game. He wouldn't confirm that Dennis Santana would start it, although did say there's a good chance Santana pitches in it at some point. He got a smile on his face when somebody asked him if we could see something similar to what the Rays did with Sergio Romo against Anaheim. And they've done it a couple of times since. If you're unfamiliar with that, that'd be a reliever coming in to open the game that matches up well with the first 3 in the opposing order. Strike 1 on Scott Kingery.
Match up right from the get-go, and then match up as the game goes on, depending on how each inning goes. Depends on where you fall in the order, if it's a lefty or a righty, or if it's the heart of the order or the tail end. There's a possible pinch hitters coming. Who do you want to have ready in relief?
One and one. Remember, we looked who profiled well in that role, specifically against Colorado, specifically against the top 3 in their order. 2 guys, Pedro Baez and Tony Cingrani.
If it's Pedro Baez, that'd be fun to see. If it's Cingrani, that'd be interesting.
Why the difference in adjectives?
Well, I think Cingrani feasts on pressure, and you see him kind of relish it. And I think Pedro, I wouldn't tell him if he's going to start the game until like 15 minutes before the game. I wouldn't want him to marinate on it. Cingrani, I think I could tell him the night before.
Kingery shoots a base hit to right, and a 2-out base runner for the Phillies.
Catcher Jorge Alfaro.
That gets Jorge Alfaro to the plate.
That's the way I got the ball in my first start. Tommy Lasorda knew that I'd be so amped up. He didn't tell me until the bus arrived to Shea Stadium that I was starting. And I found a ball on my stool and I said, "Who wants my autograph? I'm a nobody." And as I picked up the ball off my stool, Tommy was coming out of his office and said, "It's your ball today, kid. You're starting." He knew I wouldn't have been able to sleep if he'd have told me the day before.
Fields delivers. Alfaro swings and misses. One for two today. Drove in the lone run for the Phillies, but as you mentioned, that lone run still has not touched home plate. Two. Josh Fields trying to keep up what has been a tremendous run for this pitching staff. 10-3 in their last 13 games, and it's been mostly defined by the pitching. A .231 ERA during that time.
Success of the pitching staff. It started with the starters being successful and going deeper into the games, and then the bullpen guys each kind of performing in their role, so nobody had to warm up behind the guy to get out of his inning. And because those starters were able to go that one extra inning, it was one less hot arm that had to come out of the bullpen on a given night to finish off a game. And today, with Clayton just going 5 and getting ready to start building back up, they're going to have to go that extra inning. And the captain of that bullpen has been real good now for a while, Kenley Jansen.
0-2. Curve is foot foul. Even perhaps trending towards being an all-star again. Who would have thought that after a month?
Dave Roberts will be the manager of the All-Star team for the National League, and that always helps a little bit when they go to add the different pieces. It's a committee decision. It shouldn't fall on Dave's shoulders completely, no matter which way it goes, but a lot of times a little more sensitivity to the home manager's players.
Alfaro bangs one to right center field, and Puig didn't see it off of the bat, so it gets to the wall. Kingery heads home. He will score. Alfaro to third. He is out. But the Phillies have taken a 2-1 lead. Yasiel Puig never saw it, and Philadelphia takes advantage.
Well, the light where Yasiel is, and he does not see it at all. He hears it, he's looking for it, then he finally breaks. And that was the difference in now this 2-1 game.
Led by organist Dieter Rule.
2,000 fans in attendance on June 17th will receive a money clip, compliments of security benefit. After the game, stay after and play catch on the field. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Dodgers playing from behind again against Aaron Nola after the Phillies get one and a double from Alfaro. We're talking about how bright it is all day, and it really impacts the game here in the 7th as Puig doesn't look like ever saw the ball off of the bat of Alfaro. And Kingery often moving with 2 out. Scored all the way from first.
We never saw Franco touch home, and Puig never saw the batted ball. It's been a tough defensive night for the Dodgers, or day.
Tough day in the eyes. Cody Bellinger leading off the 7th. And taking it back for a breaking pitch, strike 1. Bellinger is 0 for 2 today. There's a good anecdote on the Athletic recap of last night's game from Fabian Ardaya. Bellinger before the game yesterday going through that massive slump, 3 for his last 41. Got a little gift from Kershaw. That's inside and it's 2-1. Kershaw tossed him some socks that had a picture of Kershaw on them. And it said, wear those tonight for some knocks. 2 hits later, Cody's wearing them again. 3-1. And he was happy to admit that it was all in the socks. See if he gets a pitch to hammer, maybe tie this game. Fouls it off and the count is full.
Don't lose your ability overnight, but you can lose your confidence. Looking for anything to get back to feeling good, including changing your socks.
Got him with a sharp breaking pitch, strike 3.
Right fielder number 66. Yes,
It's a small curveball or a big slider.
It's the first out of the 7th, and he's collected those strikeouts in rapid order lately. 5 over the last 2 1/3. We had just 1 over the first 4 innings. Puig doubled his last time, and here in the 7th, takes a fastball inside. It's 1-0.
Double came on a hanging breaking ball in the inner half. Yasiel did a good job not pulling it foul, hitting it right down the line.
Nola at 100 pitches now. And behind Puig, 2-0. Season high 113. That was in his last start. Very valued young arm. They won't push him too deep. Here's his 2-0. The Puig double wanted just 2 hits against him. Kike Hernandez singled the other hit. That's what brought Puig in to tie the game back in the 5th. Nola to Puig, 2-1. At the knees, 2-2.
Bottom of the strike zone. Really good pitch.
Well, since Hernandez tied the game with a base hit in the 5th, Nola's retired 6 in a row. 5 5 on strikeouts. On a 2-2, Yasiel Puig swings away and lines it to center. Herrera's there for the second out.
Second baseman number 33, Brayvick Valera.
Brayvick Valera is 0 for 2, but a productive out his last time to allow Puig to advance to third, put him in position to score on Hernandez's hit. One and 0. Dodgers not far off from getting to that Phillies bullpen, which has struggled. Takes a change on the corner, 1-1. 7 runs over 8 1/3 in this series for the Pen. On a 1-1. It's 1-2.
You know, the one thing we haven't talked about with Nola is being 24 years old, the poise he's shown. He's not back down from facing Clayton Kershaw in Dodger Stadium for the first time. Hasn't back down from the Dodger lineup.
Very low-key personality. When he was called up to the majors, he was in Double-A. The manager pulled him into the office to tell him, look, hey, your dream's coming true. Going to the show. Nola nodded, thanked him, went back into the gym, finished his workout. His parents had to find out through his agent that he was getting called up. His parents waited and waited, even though they knew, okay, he's going to call us at some point, right? We've known for an hour now, and then 2 hours, and then 3 hours had passed, still no call. So they called him, and Aaron said, oh, I guess you know, I guess you found out. Well, yeah, Aaron.
That's low key.
Here's his 1-2. Tails back into the zone for strike 3 on Brayvick Valera. That's probably the final hitter that he faces, and he finishes his day, if so, having retired the last 9. Preview of Access Sportsnet Dodgers presented by your Southern California Ford dealers.
Thank you, Joe. And coming up tonight on Access Dodgers, a complete comprehensive breakdown of Clayton Kershaw's first outing since May 1st. He brought his game, but it wasn't his A game, but it should have been good enough. We're going to have more on that ahead this evening. Back to you guys.
Aaron Nola getting the fist bumps. Dug out. His day probably finished, and now officially will be. As Yasmiel Valentin takes a strike from Tony Cingrani. Quickly 0-2. Valentin had a pinch hit base hit last night. Former Dodger farmhand. Cingrani makes quick work of it.
Tony has felt really at home here at Dodger Stadium. Now 11 2/3 innings and only 3 earned runs. He has the strikeout pitch working this year. Almost 2-to-1 as far as strikeouts to innings pitched. Really close to that.
Top of the order, Cesar Hernandez looks at a ball. Cingrani 5 consecutive scoreless outings. Two balls, no strikes. A 28-year-old for another month or so. Turned 29 on July 5th. His 2-0 is in for a strike. Looking ahead to that Rockies series, we mentioned a bullpen day tomorrow. Tyler Anderson counters for Colorado. Walker Buehler, Herman Marquez on Saturday. Alex Wood, Chad Bettis on Sunday. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Off day in Pittsburgh Monday. 3 with the Pirates starting on Tuesday. Back-to-back Ks to open Cingrani's day.
32 Ks now in 19 2/3 or 20 innings. So he's racking them up. Hit his spot on a fastball in prior to that pitch and then went up the ladder and blew it by him.
Two up, 2 down, and now Aaron Altair. You know, we were talking about how the shadows and the amount of brightness would affect seeing the ball at the plate. I'm not sure exactly how this correlates, but it's interesting that the first 4 innings, 1 strikeout each side. Since the start of the 5th, there have been 14.
Wow.
But it feels like that's once the shadows got past the mound, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the batter's eye being still in the sunlight and the shadows were past the mound, but center field was still in sunlight. Right field, where a right-handed hitter would be looking, have a little glare coming from that area.
Gets away from him, 1-2.
I can tell you when I had games like this, I was checking with my hitters every inning before I went back out onto the mound. The guys that had just hit that inning, asking them what are they seeing? What's easy to see? What's hard to see?
Two and two on Altair. Cingrani delivers, and he has struck out the side in the 8th. Got Valentin, got Hernandez, got Altair. Got the Dodgers to the plate in the 8th, down 2-1.
Dodger Stadium. Game is on Saturday, June 9th versus the Braves. And the first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a Manny Mota bobblehead presented by Jack in the Box. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
All right, talk about the issues the Phillies bullpen has had in this series as Kike Hernandez gets ready to bat to start the 8th. Sir Anthony Dominguez not included in that group. Has been fantastic. No runs over his 10 appearances. Hernandez attacks the first pitch and fouls it back. Look who's on deck, Matt Kemp.
Pretty good pinch hitter there on deck,
I'd say.
And as a pinch hitter, 4 for 9 with 4 RBIs.
Hernandez to right. Altair on the move, still going. He makes the catch. Aaron Altair takes away what probably would have been a triple for Kike Hernandez. And who knows if he's not able to catch that cleanly and it goes flying into the corner, maybe more.
That ball might have been close enough to the wall that it hits the wall short, hops the wall, and caroms around. Wow, he did a great job tracking that ball. Right-handed hitter hitting a ball to the right field corner with side spin. It was running away from him with the curve.
So on a 2-1 game, here comes Kemp. The National League's leading hitter takes the first pitch for a strike. 345 on the season. Hit his 7th home run last night. Takes the ball 1-1. He now leads the team with 30 RBIs this year. One and two.
You come in there on Matt Kemp right now, you better be at 99 miles an hour. He's one of the best fastball in hitters in the big leagues right now. He is doing such a good job at turning on the ball, but also having plate coverage away.
Coming back in. Got him swinging. Actually missed with his spot. Kemp swings through it, and 2 out in the 8th.
Changed speeds on him. He went down to 98.
Yeah, pulled the string.
This young man has got some serious ability on the mound. The stuff that he's bringing to the hill, that's kind of stuff that Walker Buehler has also.
Just explodes out of his hand.
Yeah, they're different body types, but right-handers with electric arms.
Kenley Jansen getting ready. Alfaro needed a new mitt in front of this Jock Peterson at bat. 2-1 Phillies, 8th inning. Two very odd runs for Philadelphia in this game. Peterson shows bunt, takes strike one. First one scored when it didn't. Nikhyl Franco never touched home plate. And the second run scored when Yasiel Puig couldn't see a line drive off of the bat of Alfaro his last time. Ball got into the gap and allowed Kingery to score from first. That was a changeup and a filthy one. '90. Oh, 2. Oh, baby, just missed off of the corner. Dominguez halfway off the diamond. Alfaro is headed towards the dugout, too.
There's only one opinion that counts. It's not pitch cast.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
That one gets him. 99 on the black. Dodgers down in order in the 8th. Splendid here in the month of May, getting his season on track. Strikeout to walk ratio this month for Kenley Jansen of 15-2. He struggled some with his command in April, but a good sign seeing him get things right.
We had talked bullpen, and you had mentioned maybe on track to be an all-star again, and I think you're right. If he keeps up this hot streak, gets that ERA back under 2, there is no way that the National League wouldn't want to have this guy on the mound for an inning if he keeps this stuff up.
3, 4, and 5 coming up for the Phillies. Potentially a teammate of his in the Midsummer Classic if he's able to get there. And Odubel Herrera. It's going to be a tough group to crack, though. National League outfielders.
Got to be Bryce Harper, right?
Yeah, even though he's hitting for a low average, he's going to probably make it by fan vote. As a starter. Jansen trying to keep it right here. Give the Dodgers a chance in the bottom of the 9th. Strike one. Who else? Christian Yelich in Milwaukee. Lorenzo Cain having a good season in their outfield. Jansen wants Grandal to come out. Matt Kemp.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think Kenley and Yasmani right here are talking about maybe Herrera maybe peeking a little bit. Grandal goes to move that wide open stance and the head kind of looking out at the pitcher. But does he peek when he moves in a little bit? So don't move. You're going to stay where you are. No, he's moving. So that wasn't a conversation. I'm wrong.
Pop back. Grandal has room.
Whatever they talked about, it worked.
I'm going to throw it in on him. He's going to pop it up. You're going to go catch it. Ready, break.
It's not football.
Oh. 2-1 in the ninth, and with one out, Carlos Santana. Eight-game hitting streak on the line for Santana. Takes ball one. Looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth for the Dodgers. They'll have Muncie, Turner, and Grandal coming up. If one of them can reach. Cody Bellinger.
You mentioned who's coming up. Well, I can tell you who's going to take the mound again, because there's no action in the Philly bullpen. So it's going to be Dominguez and the 99-mile-an-hour fastball and the 98-mile-an-hour changeup. We're going to have to get it off of somebody who is throwing the ball really well.
Santana sends it skyward but foul. 2-1. Hope to give up a run. Sir Anthony Dominguez only takes one though. If Jansen's able to put up a 0 here.
Every time you say Sir Anthony Dominguez, I think we need to actually graphic it, you know, closed captioning it, because it makes it sound like you're talking about royalty, and that's actually his first name.
You know, far off from being Prince the way that he's
yeah, exactly the way he's throwing,
being knighted. Off of the hands, Muncie at first, and Kenley Jansen with soft contact for the first 2 outs.
Kenley pitching with the Dodgers down 1, hasn't pitched since the 28th, so needing an inning of work, and also Dave Roberts looking for a 0 to give him a chance in the bottom of the ninth.
Nikhyl Franco. A pop up down the line. Muncie and Puig both headed over, but it's a souvenir. Phillies trying to salvage a series split. Dodgers trying to come from behind, win their 4th consecutive series. Something they've not done since early on in the second half last year. Jansen home with an 0-1 pitch. And a good strike 2 on Franco. Dominguez, by the way, has only pitched multiple innings 1 time in his major league career. May 19th, went 2 innings for a save against St. Louis. He's going to try to go 2 innings in this one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nikhyl Franco, 25 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Started playing baseball when he was 5 years old. His parents actually moved from the Dominican to Boston to open up a restaurant. He was 10, but because he was so into baseball and already had dreams of playing at the highest levels, he stayed back so he could play year-round. Not much baseball in December in Boston. Jansen strikes him out and works a 1-2-3 now. Passing those seatbelts to the bottom of the ninth we go. Muncie, Turner, and Grandal. 1 to tie, 2 to win. Score against Sir Anthony Dominguez, who's out there for his second inning of work. 2, 3, and 4 coming up.
You got to get it started a little early against this guy. He's going to be hovering around 100 miles an hour. He did it with accuracy in the last inning.
So it's Muncie to lead things off. Took a big cut at a fastball to 97, strike 1. Max Muncie has 4 home runs in his last 10 games. Surprise of the season for the Dodgers. One of a few. Takes low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. There is, by the way, some action down in that Phillies bullpen if Dominguez starts to lose it here. Luis Garcia. He's fallen behind Muncie 2-1. As you mentioned, one thing that he's done a nice job of is not walking anybody. 13 Ks, no walks. Muncie rips one, but caught by Hernandez.
Third baseman number 10, Justin Turner.
It's a bullet. Tough enough to face this guy on the mound. Then you hit it good and you don't catch a break. But you can't steer him.
1 out for Turner. The Dodgers, with their largest come from behind win of the season in the opener of this series on Monday, from down 4-0 to win it 5-4. The narrowest of deficits here. Turner takes ball 1. Two and 0. After Turner, it's Grandal. Fouled it back 2-1. 98 from Sir Anthony.
Hitters have tremendous vision. And I got to stand in the box against guys who threw really, really hard. And for my vision, it really is something different when you get up to about 98. It's a different item trying to hit this.
Turner fouls it off, 2-2.
Instead of seeing a whole ball and you really kind of can focus in on it a little bit, you are seeing more of a, I think that's a ball, and it's kind of a blur.
Yeah.
It felt more like you were swinging at an area of anticipation than you were swinging at an object.
On a 2-2 pitch, Turner takes the ball. And ricochets all the way up over the net, and a full count in a one-run game. A 3-2. Turner grounds one left side. Kingery from short left field. Not in time. Bang, bang at first. The Dodgers have the tying run on.
In the fourth, there was a play like this. Kingery boxed it up right about there, and Turner beat it out. This one, he had to go deeper into the hole. And boy, it's going to look like they're going to get on the headsets and reverse this one. Two plays that don't go the Dodgers' way. A ball in the hole that looks like they're not going to get the call on. They've got it so far. Is there going to be enough evidence to overturn it? And then the line drive by Muncie for the first out. So close. It's like the length of a spike, which is about a quarter of an inch. When does it hit the leather? When does the foot hit the bag?
Man.
Wow.
I think there's a, okay, I think that he's out, but I think there's a chance here that they say there's not quite enough there.
Yep. The only thing in the Dodgers' favor is the fact that the call on the field is safe.
Exactly. He's out. Just enough video evidence. That close. What a play by Scott Kingery.
It sure was. Well, you mentioned game one in the 8th inning, dramatic comeback by the Dodgers. Well, that inning was helped out by Phillies defense. Well, tonight, the Phillies defense has pitched in and helped the pitching staff.
Strike one on Yasmani Grandal. The Dodgers down to their final bullet. Dominguez not wasting any time, ready to come downhill with an 0-1. That misses. It's 1-1. This is the second most pitches that Dominguez has thrown in an outing as a big leaguer. Grandal bounces one gently right side. Kingery's got it, and the Dodgers settle for a series split. The Phillies 2, the Dodgers 1. And they finish this homestand with a 6-4 record.
Win 3 series in a row, split this one with the Phillies. They're still on a roll and feeling good about themselves, but they would have felt much better if they could have found a W today.
Player of the game brought to you by Lexus. The winning pitcher, Aaron Nola, goes 7 innings and strikes out 7, gives up just the 1 run in the 5th inning on the base hit from Kike Hernandez. The Dodgers as a team managed just 2 hits in this one after exploding last night for the 8 runs. So they split this set and head on the road. 3 with the Rockies and 3 with the Pirates. For Orr Hershiser and Alana Rizzo, Joe Davis saying so long from Dodger Stadium. Stay tuned. Access Sportsnet Dodgers begins now.